The professionals who dominate the next decade will all have this one skill. It's something that AI will never replace. And by the end of this video, I will tell you exactly what the skill is, why most people and professionals fail despite trying a lot, and the 3 strategies to learn it faster and more effectively. By the way, the skill is obviously learning Spanish and learning languages overall. My name is Kai. I've spent 5 years actively researching and learning linguistics and language learning and metacognition, and I learned Spanish from a A1 to a B1, B2 level in about 5 to 6 months using strategies and techniques that I've been working on, and including my father's research and my father's studies. He is also a language teacher. And now I can speak Spanish at a C2 professional level. Just saying, everything that I share in this video is backed by data and evidence, and I'll be sharing that data and evidence. So why Spanish is the unfair advantage for professionals right now? This sounds crazy, but actually, I've been looking at the data, and the Latin market and overall Latin American market is booming. I have been listening to some podcasts and stuff, and they're all the Latin American market is booming, everything is growing. I mean, if you've been listening, then you probably know, but this is big, right? So bilingual salary premium. Studies consistently show bilingual workers earn 5 to 20% more than monolingual peers. Research across 9,000 job postings found multilingual employees earn an average of 90% more. Spanish-speaking employees are the most in demand. 86% of bilingual jobs postings specifically mention Spanish. All right, so this is a big thing. Also, the market size. Hispanic buying power in the US is projected and has exceeded $3 trillion by 2026-2027, larger than the whole GDP of most countries. Hispanic households will account for approximately 70% of new homeowners by 2040. This is not a trend, this is just a structural demographical shift that is happening right now in the United States. And now, why can't AI replace this? Well, here's some evidence. So, British Council confirms that language proficiency improves employability and fosters stronger business relationships in ways that translation tools cannot replicate. Trust, emotional nuance, cultural subtext, and real-time relationship building in a client's native language are human skills. All right, AI translates words, it translates meanings, but if you are fluent, then that's what creates the cultural connection between two people. And robots and machines will never destroy that connection, right? Never. Because we are human beings, and human beings love human beings. Human beings are connected to other human beings. It's just overall psychology. And we won't try and change that for a robot, right? So we want that emotional nuance, and this affects business, this impacts employees, and all the evidence that I just stated. All right, section 2. Why do most professionals learn Spanish and fail despite trying? All right, now, the honest truth here is that there's a couple of reasons, but the biggest reason is that, first of all, they don't have a system built around their life. So Duolingo, that usually takes about 3 to 5 years to become conversationally fluent based on studies. They learn words instead of actually learning context and building chunks. And just to be fully honest with you, it takes time to learn languages, right? And most people don't have a deeper why behind learning them. So that's why they usually quit, or they stop doing it, or they just stop learning it, right? So that is the main reason why professionals and people quit despite trying. All right. There's also another research on habit maintenance, which shows that 48% of language learners abandon courses before even reaching intermediate levels. That's primarily due to a lack of either motivation or interaction within that course. It's not usually talent or intelligence or effort put into it. It's just the motivation, the intrinsic motivation. So we want to focus on intrinsic deeper why instead of extrinsic motivation. Oh, that's cool. We want to focus on our deeper why. Why am I learning this? I want to expand my business. I want to travel to countries. I want to connect with people, right? So I always, before learning language, I find my deeper why behind just, I want to know this language because I'm going to be cooler than whatever, this guy or my friend or whatever. So finding your deeper why is what allows that true motivation, intrinsic desire to learn it. And the problem is that apps are taking over, and for apps, I know people that spent years on apps and they cannot focus and have a conversation. And that's because, stick with me, because it sticks, because they focus on recognition. All right, so apps teach you to recognize languages, and they don't teach you to actually recall and produce and express the language and create sentences in real life. So you know words, right? I know that's a word, but they don't actually teach you to actually deploy and employ the words in real life. And I think that's very sad, right? That people want to learn this language, but they go on apps and they can't actually employ the word. So that's where I get to section number 3. All right, chapter number 3 of this video. And I'm going to give you 3 strategies that you can employ right away to learn languages effectively and not spend so much time on it and learn it quicker, faster than everyone else. So the first one is chunk-based learning over vocabulary lists. I personally think, and grammatically, that the verb is the core part of the sentence. And a problem that I see is people just learn like nouns and vocab. And the problem with that is they don't connect it to verbs. And when you connect a verb with a noun, it creates action. And it creates movement. And it creates visual. You can visually see and know the language. And if you think about our previous ancestors thousands of years ago, they did not care about remembering dates or numbers or words or whatever. All they needed was to remember how they can get back from their hunting to their village. Now you might be saying, wait, they remembered, right, like certain plants or words, right? Obviously they remembered that, but that is because they connected with other words. Do not eat, bam, that plant, or do not eat this, or let's go there. Like all these kind of words in our past, they're all focused on action because we are action creatures, right? So as I said, you can say necesito comer, right? I need to eat. Necesito comer una manzana. Now in Spain they would say necesito comer una manzana. In Mexico, they would say, necesito comer una manzana, right? So regarding this, right? So that is, I need to eat an apple. If you just say apple, that's just one. If you say, necesito comer una manzana, now it's hard for me to transition languages super quickly. It usually takes me a couple minutes for my mind to fully transition into Spanish or I don't know, speak German, into Russian or Serbian or whatever language I know. So sorry, my pronunciation isn't perfect. It takes me time to adapt. I have other videos where I speak for long time in Spanish, and you can see my accent there. I'm going to be posting a video where I speak for 60 minutes in the near future, so that's also something, but my pronunciation, I know it's not perfect because it's like the muscle memory of the brain, which I talk about, works. But anyways, so I was teaching about vocabulary learning in chunks, right? So that is the first strategy, is to work with chunks. Now, Zipf's law, right? There's a guy named Zipf, and he made a law in 1959, and pretty much what the law is about is that the top 1,000 words that you use, not in the language, but that you use, account for 80% of the daily conversation. Now, another thing here is to learn your vocabulary instead of learning a vocabulary, which I think is excruciatingly important. Let me drink some tea. And all of those words live in simple patterns that you can repeat and use all the time. So that is what I recommend. Using words and learning words in repeatable patterns and learning them in chunks, connecting them with previous context. That's the first strategy for learning it quicker. Instead of learning vocabulary lists, learn 5 verbs, learn 10 nouns, and mix them, match them with each other. Actually, my father taught me this. He called it sentence weaving. And yeah, it's great. Obviously, you want to work on you first want to work on like the basic. Actually, talking about the basics, I have a 7-day free foundations course for professionals. If you want to become conversationally fluent, it's 7 days to a strong base foundation in Spanish, right? I teach you language learning strategies, metacognitive strategies, linguistics, so that you can learn languages and you can build a system that you can implement in daily for like the next, I don't know, year or two to become conversationally fluent in Spanish. The link is down there. There's like a bunch of other bonuses and guides and cool stuff in there. It's free, all right? And it's super cool, all right? I spent a lot of time on this, and I really, really enjoyed filming this course and building this out and building like the whole system out. It was very enjoyable, and I hope you enjoy it as well. It's down there. Let's get into the second strategy, all right? Passive time conversion. If you have passive time in your day, I really, really recommend another strategy is to take that passive time and learn something in that passive time. I usually, when I'm washing dishes, I listen to some form of input. When I'm sweeping the floor, I usually also listen or watch a podcast in a certain target language that I'm learning. You want to aim for 70 to 90% comprehension rate so that you can build context off of what you're building. If we go into some evidence, research on distributed practice shows that multiple short sessions spread across a day, now I'm talking about this because I said dishes and sweep the floor or driving somewhere, commuting, if you have short practices, produce stronger retention than a one long session. If you are a professional and use your commute, your gym session, your work, your lunch, and you pack in different comprehension and listening in that one area, and then connect it with some form of output, which I'll talk about, which is strategy number 3, then you will learn a lot better. And if you get 40 to 60 to 80 minutes a day of this, it's going to be very, very, very useful. All right. And obviously you want to make it customizable for yourself. Now, strategy number 3, output forcing. Force output from week 1. Listen to the proper pronunciation from week 1. Listen to, try and focus on building sounds and building sentences from week 1. All right. Now, evidence. Swain's output hypothesis and Roediger's testing effect both confirm that producing language accelerates acquisition, or the language itself. The research shows speaking from the beginning imperfectly is what creates that readiness. And if we dive deeper into this, you learn really well if you turn what you recognize into real sentence and you express your real thoughts in your target language. Once you start expressing and creating in your target language stuff that is customized to you, and there's this concept called CBL, which is curiosity-based learning. If you work on this, then you will learn a language customized to how you actually want, to the words that you want to actually learn in real life, right? So you will learn words that are interesting for you. You will learn stuff that you are interested about, not just random words. You will learn stuff that you are actually interested about, which strengthens your retention, which strengthens your retrieval pathways, and mixing that up is very important. So hopefully you like the video. If you're a professional that wants to learn this language in 6 months, get like the 7-day course. And yeah, all the best. Bye.